Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. In today's episode, we continue with the story of Lori Vallow. If you've been following this series, this is part 3 of the full detailed timeline of Lori Vallow. And so we're diving into this. And so in part 3, we're going to be covering 2021 and covering everything we know about what happened that year in this Lori Vallow case. In early January of 2021, an audio recording between prosecutor Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett. Summer is Lori Vallow's sister. And this audio recording is released to the public. So in this audio that was revealed, there was some new information at that time. And this was an audio recording of prosecutor Rob Wood speaking with Lori's sister Summer, and it was played during a court hearing that early January. Now, this gave room for John Pryor and Mark Means. These are the attorneys for Chad and Lori, and this gave them room to accuse Wood of prosecutorial misconduct. And their key argument focuses on this recording between Wood and Summer Shiflett. According to the attorneys Pryor and Means, they were alleging that prosecutor Wood tried to coerce, unduly influence, coach, and or intimidate Summer Shiflett. And so Means and Pryor, they had submitted this recording as evidence. And this information shows that, number one, Wood told Shiflett he plans to file conspiracy to commit murder charges against the Daybells. He says, "We are not shy about that." Another information was prosecutors believe they have a case against Chad, but the case against Lori is stronger. This is according to Wood as well, letting her sister know, like, we have a lot against your sister. Another piece of information at that moment was that the FBI crime lab, that they had Tylee Ryan's body to try and determine how she died. And Wood, he snaps back at attorney Mark Means, and he says that Means has never done any meaningful criminal work. And although Means is a nice guy, when more charges are filed, Lori will get attorneys who will know what they're doing. So that was a knock against him. And so this had come out early in January of 2021 on this audio recording that was actually done back in October of 2020, but it just came to light. And so it was released, it was revealed. And because of this, Lori Vallow's attorneys, they were arguing to remove prosecutor Wood from this case. And of course, the judge denies Hope mom Lori Vallow's motion to remove the prosecutor. In January, police had completed the review the death of her third husband, Joseph Ryan, which is the father of Tylee Ryan. The conclusion was that he died of natural causes. And Joseph Ryan, he had died of a heart attack in 2018, which was 6 months before the recording of Vallow that was made that said she was going to kill him. And according to Joseph's sister, Annie Cushing, she said that Vallow waited weeks to tell Ryan's family that he had died. Now, on February 4th of 2021, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office announces Tammy Daybell's autopsy is complete, but they do not release any details. That same day, newly elected Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake requests the Tammy Daybell death investigation case be sent back to her office from the Idaho Attorney General. The Attorney General transfers the case. Now, you see, Tammy had died in October of 2019, and so police exhumed her body from the Springville, Utah cemetery in December of 2019 as part of the investigation into Chad Daybell and his new wife, Lori Vallow Daybell. Now, of course, the Fremont County, Idaho Sheriff's Office, they will not be releasing the results because they are evidence in an ongoing investigation. It definitely looks like the autopsy is done, but we'll have to wait to find out exactly the whole thing behind the autopsy and toxicology report on Tammy Daybell. On March 22nd of 2021, Madison County Prosecutor Rob Wood adds veteran homicide attorney Rachel Smith of Missouri to his team to assist in the case against Chad Daybell. On May 24th, a grand jury indicts Chad and Lori Daybell on several new felony charges, including first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors announced the charges during a May 25th news conference, releasing the indictment containing additional information surrounding the homicides of Tylee Ryan, Joshua J.J. Vallow, and Tammy Daybell. You see, previously, they had been charged with conspiracy in the deaths of Tylee and JJ, who were found dead on Daybell's Salem, Idaho property in June of 2020. Before this, they had not been previously even charged in Tammy Daybell's death, but now they were being charged. And according to the indictment, Chad is charged with first-degree murder in his wife's death. And Lori, she is charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of Tammy Daybell. See, Daybell originally, when Tammy died in October 2019, this was weeks before Vallow and Daybell even married. So she died right before they got married. She was only 48 years old and she had no known health conditions. And Chad, he reportedly told police that he woke up to find that she had died in her sleep and he declined an autopsy. Later, Tammy's body is exhumed, and even though authorities had not yet released the cause of death, they had enough to charge him and her in the death of Tammy Daybell. Also, the indictment outlined some newly filed murder charges against Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell that show that this indictment also outlined some newly filed murder charges against Lori and Chad, and it shows that prosecutors believe that Lori's brother Alex Cox was involved in not only the deaths of his niece and nephew, that's Tylee and JJ, but also Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell. And so this indictment names Cox as a co-conspirator in all three deaths, and it indicates that there are additional suspected co-conspirators, both known and unknown. This is according to the indictment. Now, of course, Cox would die suddenly in December of 2019. This is the day after Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. And the prosecutor's filing states that Alex Cox went to the Daybell's residence on October 9th of 2019 and attempted to shoot Tammy Daybell. On that day, Tammy Daybell called police to say that a masked man had fired toward her with a paintball gun. On May 27th of 2021, it was reported that 7th Judicial District Judge Stephen Boise found Lori Vallow incompetent to stand trial. His exact words are, "Assessment determined at this time the defendant is not competent to proceed and recommends restorative treatment." And so on June 8th, Lori Vallow Daybell, she is committed to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. A psychologist deemed her not fit for trial and a judge agreed she could not help in her defense. On June 9th, Lori Vallow is committed to a state mental health facility, and Chad Daybell pleads not guilty to all counts handed down by the grand jury. His family, as well as the family of the victims, sat in the courtroom. On June 24th, a grand jury in Arizona indicted Lori Vallow Daybell for conspiracy to commit murder in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. Prosecutors declined to press charges against Chad Daybell, saying there is no reasonable likelihood of conviction. Charles Vallow, he died in July of 2019 after an argument at the Chandler, Arizona home where Lori and her children were living following the marital separation. Vallow's brother Alex Cox was present and fatally shot Charles during a purported altercation, claiming self-defense. Cox was never charged in Charles Vallow's death and died himself later that year of reported natural causes. July 29, 2021, prosecutors dropped the destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence charges against Chad and Lori Daybell. On July 1st of 2021, an article comes out sharing about the affidavit of when Alex Cox shot Charles Vallow. Come to find out, after the shooting, Alex Cox waited 43 minutes to call 911 while Lori went to Burger King. This is according to documents. An arrest affidavit that was connected to the new charges against Lori Vallow, it shows that investigators believe the shooting death of her former husband, Charles Vallow, was not a spontaneous event, though she and her brother Alex Cox claimed Cox shot Charles in self-defense. This affidavit casts some serious doubt on Alex Cox's claim of self-defense. The Chandler Police Department describes Charles Vallow's death in this affidavit, in this probable cause affidavit, as a murder, stating that evidence shows that Charles' death was a planned event and necessary to prevent Charles and others from confronting Lori about her extreme religious beliefs. The affidavit, it details these extreme religious beliefs. It shares, it was discovered that Lori and Chad believed that they had extraordinary abilities. Some of these abilities included the power to teleport and cause harm to others, the ability to call up natural disasters, the ability to pray away demonic spirits attached to others, and also visionary capabilities. Because of these capabilities provided to them, they felt they were qualified to tell whether someone had a light or dark scale associated with them. This scale would indicate whether or not they had demonic spirits attached to them. According to the affidavit and previous reports, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell believed Charles Vallow was possessed by a demonic spirit, and that Lori believed, perhaps correctly, that Charles Vallow was planning an intervention to address her religious beliefs. And as I mentioned, the affidavit shows that investigators believe Alex Cox waited 43 minutes to call 911 after shooting Charles Vallow. It also alleges that Lori Vallow went to Burger King while her husband lay dying. According to the affidavit, following the murder of Charles Vallow, Lori took his rental vehicle and cellular phone. The GPS data associated with the phone indicated that the phone left the residence at 07:49 hours. Lori then went to Burger King to get food for JJ, Walgreens to get flip-flops for her and Tylee, and finally returned home at 08:48 hours in the morning. Alex Cox would not call 911 until 08:32 hours in the morning to report the shooting. When reporting the incident, Alex indicated that it just happened. He was provided with CPR instructions, and he acted as if he was performing life-saving measures on Charles. It was not until emergency personnel began life-saving measures that they saw blood coming from Charles' body. This would indicate that Alex performed no emergency aid. Based on this timeline, Charles would have laid dead or dying for approximately 43 minutes before Alex called 911. On July 17th, evidence shows that cult mom Lori Vallow had convenient travel plans around some suspicious activity. She flies out of Idaho the day before the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell, and she returns to the state the day after Tammy Daybell dies. And this is all within weeks of marrying Tammy's husband, Chad. And records show that Lori Vallow, she books a flight for October 8th, 2019 from Idaho to Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. The following day, Alex Cox, this is Lori's brother, attempts to shoot Tammy Daybell. Investigators determined that Lori flies back to Idaho on October 20th. This is one day after Tammy Daybell died, and Lori and Chad were married just weeks later. Emails also show that Alex Cox flew from Phoenix to Columbia within days of the shooting death of Charles Vallow, the fourth husband of Lori. August 30th, Lori is still incompetent to stand trial, and more competency hearings are scheduled. In September, prosecutors asked if Lori should be forced to take medications, as the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare suggested she should. Right around that same time, reports begin coming out about an upcoming 48 hours with the 5 adult kids of Chad Daybell. In an interview with CBS 48 Hours, Chad Daybell's children say their father was framed. They also say their mother died of asphyxiation. Authorities had not released her cause of death, but multiple sources close to the investigation said she died from asphyxiation. And in the episode, when asked if they believe their father had anything to do with Tylee and JJ's murder, they all shake their heads no. One of them, Leah Murphy, says it's completely unthinkable. And when asked to explain how the bodies were found on their father's property if he had nothing to do with it, Emma Murray says he was framed. In September of 2021, news came out that 7 months before Lori Vallow's 2 youngest children died, a report was made to the Arizona Department of Child Safety concerning their welfare, but Child Services never investigated. In January of 2019, Charles Vallow contacted Chandler police when he returned home from a work trip to find his wife's behavior increasingly bizarre. He noted that he feared for their children's lives. And the Chandler Police Department, they released emails that indicates Charles Vallow shared his concern with staff at Life Academy in Gilbert. JJ Vallow, the son of Charles Vallow, he attended school at Life Academy at the time. Emails indicated that the school called police and reported the incident. Chandler police then called Child Services and made a report. However, Child Services apparently declined to investigate the incident further, as neither call met the statutory requirements for DCS to open an investigation. The department declined to explain why and how the decision to forego an investigation was reached. In October of 2021, authorities in Arizona, they released case files in the criminal investigation of Lori Vallow's husband, Charles Vallow's shooting, which was ruled a homicide the week before. As I said, Alex Cox shot Charles Vallow and claiming self-defense. So investigators reopened the case after Lori Vallow and current husband Charles Vallow were implicated in the disappearance and death of Vallow's 2 children. In the interview with police, she speaks bitterly about her relationship with her estranged husband and claims that he always treated Tylee badly while favoring JJ. And JJ, this is Charles' biological nephew, who Charles and Lori adopted as a baby. Lori explains to police that Charles had asked to take JJ to school on that Thursday morning, and that she agreed. She also said she expected he would try to come to the rented home in Chandler the night before, which is why she asked her brother Alex to stay the night. Lori tells the officer that Charles was behaving aggressively when he came to that home that morning. She said that Charles had left his phone behind and that when he came back into the house to get it, Vallow was holding it. The two purportedly got into an argument about his phone, with Vallow asking him about some threats he had allegedly made. Lori tells the officer that the situation quickly escalated as Cox and Charles Vallow argued aggressively. Tylee had grabbed a baseball bat, telling police herself that she worried Charles was going to hurt someone, but eventually went outside and stood by the car where JJ was waiting to be driven to school. According to Lori's account, Charles Vallow then takes the bat. Lori tells police she feared he might use it on her. She says she tried to get away from him, and after she distanced herself from him, she heard but did not see a gunshot. She said she then saw him on the ground and that her first instinct was to go to her children and get JJ to school. She told the officer that she immediately left the home and drove JJ to school with Tylee in the car, stopping for JJ's breakfast at Burger King. Now, this portion of her account is corroborated by police documents released earlier that year. Tylee Ryan, she offers a similar version of events in a separate interview with the same officer. And she adds that she and Charles Vallow never got along and would sometimes get into arguments. Neither Lori Vallow or Tylee appeared emotional about Charles' death, with Lori telling that police officer that she didn't like him. Tylee said that Charles looked like a crazy person that morning. And Tylee, she tells officers that she heard a loud noise while she was outside with JJ and said she initially thought someone had banged the baseball bat on the floor of the home. She said she did go back into the house to get her mother's purse, but went in and out very quickly without seeing or hearing anything. After the interview, Tylee was left alone in the room where the officer questioned her. While she was clear and upbeat in the interview, her body language seems to change once she is alone. At one point, she rests her head on the side of the chair. Now, Tylee and JJ are believed to have been killed on separate dates in September. Their bodies were found in June 2020, buried in the backyard of Lori's husband, Chad Daybell. Following a change of venue hearing on October 5th of 2021, District Judge Stephen Boise rules the Daybell trial will be moved from Fremont County to Ada County. The Idaho Supreme Court approves the move to Idaho's most populous county. In October, articles come out that share that brother Alex Cox, who later shot to death his sister's fourth husband, had went to jail for assaulting Joe Ryan with a taser in 2007. And so Lori Vallow and her brother Alex had an entire plan to kill her third husband, Joseph Ryan, long before she met Chad Daybell. The brother of Alex Cox, his name is Adam Cox. He told investigators he believed his brother and sister killed Charles Vallow, a death that was initially ruled self-defense when Alex said Vallow came at him with a baseball bat. Adam, he says, I said Alex and Lori murdered Charles. The family, cousins, and uncles, they understand the history with Lori, Alex, and Lori's ex-husband. There is a whole pattern of things there. Adam Cox's statements were revealed in a bunch of documents released in the Chandler, Arizona Police Department investigation into Charles Vallow's death, which they had reopened as detectives in Idaho looked into the disappearance of the two Vallow kids. Adam Cox says Lori and Alex planned to kill Joe. They planned out how they were going to kill Joe, and Al was going to taser him, throw him in the trunk, and take him out to onto the field and shoot him and then bury him. Well, Al went to taser him and it didn't work, and Joe called the cops and Al went to jail. Now, court documents in Texas did show that an incident took place, and it showed that Alex Cox assaulted Ryan with a taser in 2007 and he was convicted. Joseph Ryan was hospitalized for several days. Another friend, Angeline Law, she said Lori had said before that she hired her brother to kill Joe because of stuff he did to them. Vallow and Ryan, they fought a bitter custody battle over Tylee Ryan, which included Vallow accusing him of sexually abusing their daughter and son, Colby Ryan. Joe Ryan was eventually cleared of those charges, but Vallow did tell friends about those accusations. Angeline Law said, in reference to Lori, she said eventually Joe is going to die for what he did. She's like, people don't get away with stuff like that. She claimed she had gone off the wall and gone crazy because of what he did to them. On October 7th, Chandler, Arizona police released their entire case file for the investigation into Charles' homicide. Included are gigabytes of never before seen video interviews, audio recordings, text messages, and police reports. On December 28th, District Judge Stephen Boise ordered that Mark Means, Lori Daybell's attorney, can no longer represent her. Boise cites the conflict of interest in Means representing both Chad and Lori, as well as concerns over his legal competency and effectiveness. And that is everything in 2021. Crazy case, I know, right? This is going to be a big one. These, right now, let's be real. Granted, I'm covering this from beginning to end, but there's no way these people are not going to spend the rest of their lives in prison. But right now, they both have said not guilty, so there is going to be a trial. And from what I understand, there won't be cameras allowed inside this, so we're only going to get bits and pieces at the end of the day as it goes on, right? We won't be there live inside the trial. And so in our next video, we will catch you up on everything in 2022, including will she face the death penalty. My friends, thank you for joining me today. I'm Manny Rodriguez, and I look forward to serving you more. Have a great day, my friends. Peace.